So let's take a look at these prophetic cycles. These appointed times, Yahweh's appointed times that turn and return weekly, annually, within the 7 months of harvest, and also within periods of 7-year cycles. They are constant reminders of God's eternal plan. We're strongly reminded of Ezekiel's astounding vision, recounted in the first chapter of his book, Ezekiel chapter 1, the wheel within a wheel, that phrase he uses when he saw the amazing cherubim in the glory of God's throne. He talked about the visual wheel within a wheel. When studying Ezekiel's vision, don't think wheels, think cycles. Anyway, we'll do a separate session on Ezekiel's vision alone. So the first cycle that we're going to look at occurs every 7th day, the weekly Shabbat, the appointed time we are specifically told from the beginning of time to remember and keep. It's a day of ceasing from works and a promise of a future time when we will be with Yahweh forever, when this world ceases to exist. Next, we have the cycle of harvest that falls within the mid-7 months of the year, March to September on our calendar, Nisan to Tishrei on the Hebrew calendar. This is the yearly cycle, the annual cycle. These 7 months turn and return every year. This is the annual cycle. As we have already learned, these are the prophetic harvests of this present age. See the text before this video to remind yourself. Every one of these will be fulfilled in its time. Then we look at a particular appointment with Yahweh that falls in the 7th year. It's known as the Shabbat year or the Sabbath year of the physical land. In Hebrew called the Shemitah. It's the Hebrew word for release. And you will see what sort of release this brings. In this year, the produce of the land lies completely untended and is available for everyone and anyone to take and eat. That's a release for land and people. Also in this 7th year, there was to be a release from debt of all kinds. Debts were cancelled. Slaves were set free. That's inconceivable in this modern world. In God's economy, there's no place for poverty, no plan for anyone to go without what was needed. It's a problem that the world, through selfishness, greed, and inhumanity, has created. Finally, there is the cycle of 7 times 7 years, 49 years. The Jubilee, you'll have heard of that. Yovel in Hebrew. That is the Jubilee cycle. It's 7 cycles of Shabbat years that we've talked about there. 49 years in total. The regulations for the Jubilee are found in Leviticus 25 verses 8 to 13. They deal with the land and property rights. It's actually quite amazing. It's another massive release. People could return to property they'd lost for whatever reason. It is remarkable to note that with each cycle we have looked at here, the rest or release, whatever way you want to look at that, becomes more glorious with each ensuing cycle. If you look back over these that we have considered, you can see the rest or release increasing with each cycle. What mercy, goodness and grace of our God are expressed in these cycles of 7.